Hello, welcome to our digital marketing webinar for Thursday, the 23rd of April. And thank you for joining us today on this marvelous sunny day here in Yorkshire. And I hope everyone's doing well. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. Today, we're looking at ways that you can measure and analyze your website behavior. So how people land on your website, what they do on your website, and how are they interacting, so that you can make informed decisions as to where you should optimize your website. So should you put a contact form further up? Should you switch things around slightly? We're going to show you how you can measure and track behavior of your website visitors. So it's time to tie up all of our marketing tips into how you can then use that behavior to improve your website. So we're actually going to go deep into things like Google Analytics today. So welcome to Thursday's webinar. Hello, everyone. How are we all today? Let's say hi to Josh. Josh, hello. Hello, Josh. He's not there. He's not there. He'll come. He'll be here in a second. Hi, Bob. Hi, Denisa. Hi, Bernie. Hi, Karen, Mark, Peter. Afternoon, everybody. Afternoon. And we're waiting on Josh, who is kindly going to help us today walk through Google Analytics. So, hello. If you've just joined, Google Analytics is planned for today. Well, we're looking at your website behavior. So we're going to be able to show you how you can look at what people are doing on your website and how you can make changes to your website depending on what people are doing on the site itself. So I'm just going to introduce Josh. Josh, if you want to come and say hi at least. He'll pop in. And as we're doing that, oh, we haven't got Sam today. We've got Josh. Sorry about that. It's not Sam. And waiting on Josh just to say hi. Okay, so he's coming. He's coming. Today, as discussed, we're going to be looking at some of your website behavior. Let's just wait on Josh a few more seconds. He's coming. He's just finding his way in, and he'll be here imminently. So whilst we wait on Josh to say hi, InfoServe, UK's only Google Premier partner, Microsoft Elite partner, and Yahoo partner. Yorkshire's only Google Premier partner and Microsoft Elite partner. We've been saying this on every webinar, so we won't repeat the same message again. But lots of accreditations, lots of training, lots of knowledge, and we're here today to help you. Can't hear Josh. Can't hear Josh. He's coming. He's having a few technical problems. So he's getting sorted now. Right. Okay. What is the objective of all of this? Well, we spoke to you yesterday about social media. With the last 2 days, we've been looking at, let's see if I can see Josh. Bear with. No, he's not here yet. He's can see him. No sound, Josh. Some of you can see him. Some of you can't. One day we'll get this perfect, I'm sure. But technology, you can't blame it. You can't blame us. It's just technology. But he's coming. But I want to start by saying anyway that we've looked at social media yesterday. We've been talking about how your website plays such a central part to all of this. Whether you're running Google ads, Microsoft ads, or whether you've got a GMB page, a Google My Business page, or social media, or Facebook ads, it all goes back to your website. So we must now start to look at how people are behaving on your website. Do you want to know where they're looking? Do you want to know how long they're spending on certain pages? Do you want to know why they're not clicking on certain things when you'd hope? Well, we're hopefully going to unveil that a little bit more today and help you out. So all of this ties back to something called Google Analytics. Google Analytics needs to be at the center of everything. Okay, so that's what we're going to focus in on. Josh, I can't hear you still, unfortunately.
Yep. Can you hear me now?
Yep, we can hear you now.
There we go. Perfect. Sorry about that. I was talking for a while then. Yeah, I'm sure you've been through it. Welcome to another webinar. We've got a really good kind of juicy session of analytics, Google Analytics. So we're going to keep it very top level today. We're going to show you how to set up Google Analytics. And then we're also going to show you little tips and tricks on how to find out where people are coming from, what devices they're using to land on your site, and also kind of the pages which are working the best on your website. And then you can obviously make a plan and really use this information to have a solid marketing plan in terms of developing your website and making sure people are engaged and people are ultimately inquiring.
Exactly. I've got one big trick up my sleeve at the end of this session, guys. So stick around until the end, because I'm also going to show you something else that I highly recommend you install on your website. And I would say every single person out there needs to install this thing I'm going to show you. I'm going to leave it all the way to the end. It is completely free for you to install, but the power of this trick is going to blow your mind. I guarantee it. But first, we're going to dive into Google Analytics. And before we do that, well, I really wanted to talk about the benefit of what Josh is going to cover here. Josh is talking about all the things that you can use in Google Analytics, but those businesses that use Google Analytics in this way really do see a strong return on investment. And here's an example here of 400% year-on-year growth just by having a bit more time dedicated to Google Analytics. Whether it was a dedicated person in the business, your marketing person, or you as a business owner, spending that little bit more time on Google Analytics can really increase your revenue and your business growth. It helps you build a complete picture by understanding what people are doing on your site, so that you can better evaluate the performance of your marketing. All right. So there's no point of doing any marketing, any Facebook ads, any Google ads, any SEO even. Why spend all this time doing all this unless you're evaluating and understanding what people are doing and how they're reacting to your marketing? So that's the point of this, is you need to understand your site users. Best thing about Analytics is it's on every device. So you can install an app on your mobile phone, you can have it on your desktop or your iPad or tablet. It's really easy to use on every device. So whatever your industry, whether it be travel, healthcare, automotive, trades, I don't know, accommodation, analytics really does help you get a deeper understanding. And so it really is super important if you are investing time or if you're investing money into digital marketing. Okay, so I'm going to just jump back now. And what's going to happen is Josh is going to dive in to an actual Google Analytics account so he can help walk you through that. And I'll just dive in here and there, but I'm going to take a little bit of a backseat now while Josh, Mr. Technical is Josh. He is the guy that coordinates all of our marketing, and he's the guy that looks at our analytics. So it's worth just trying to see if there's one or two things you can take away from this. That's all we're saying. One or two things, one or two tips. If you can take away that from this session, that's all we're hoping for. And right at the end of this session, I'm going to show you a really, really cool trick and tool that you can put on your website. It's going to be cool, and you're going to be able to see where people are looking on your website. So more on that at the end. Okay, Josh, over to you.
Yeah, perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly show you the analytics dashboard as you have set it up. So let's say we've already set it up. I'm going to show you the setup process, so don't worry. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you exactly what kind of information is waiting for you in your analytics account. This is information, if you have got it already installed, brilliant, because then you've got all of that information and all of that data which you can then harvest and use to your advantage. You can use it to, as we mentioned, plan marketing campaigns, and you can use it to optimize your site to find out basically what people are interacting with. Because we can give you the best possible advice. We can show you everything according to Google and Microsoft what works best, but There's nothing like real world examples. There's nothing like actually testing it and finding out for yourself on what works best for you. And we're going to show you how to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you one of our analytics accounts. So not too sure if many of people are aware, InfoServe, we have another website called City Visitor. Now, City Visitor was one of the first online directories available. This is where businesses can put business listings and so forth. So I'm just going to show you some analytics to do with them. So I'm just going to share my screen.
And whilst you're doing that, Josh, I'm just going to say that at the end, after you've done this, everyone, we've got a step-by-step guide that's going to come up on screen that will show you how to get started on analytics, how to set up your account, and what you need to do, the bits and bobs that you need to do. So that's going to come up on the screen after Josh has finished. So yeah, Josh, sorry to interrupt. Oh, I think I've... Sorry, Josh. I think I turned you off there. My bad. Sorry, Josh. I think I've accidentally muted you and turned off your screen share. Apologies for that. Josh, if you just want to try again there. Sorry.
There we go. Can you hear me now?
Back over to you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Brilliant. Right. Sorry about that, guys. Right. Let's start again. So this can seem a little complex to begin with. Don't worry, though. It is all fairly easy. There are loads of kind of help and tutorials, ourselves included, to kind of walk you through here. So this is the main dashboard that you get. So on here, you have kind of live updates of how many people are on your site right now. According to Google Analytics, we've got 7 people at this moment in time looking at the website. This gives you a quick kind of rundown over the last 7 days of how many people, how many users there are on the actual site. So 6.3 thousand, how many sessions, and the bounce rate and the average kind of session duration. Now, these are some really important figures, especially the users kind of tab. You can see exactly how many people are going on your site on a weekly and monthly basis. So as we can see here, just to kind of define the difference between users and sessions, you can have one user that can have 2 sessions on the website, if that makes sense. So this is why they are slightly different. So it's always good to see if those same people are coming back and using your site. So if we have a look over, for instance, like the last 28 days, so we've had 20,000 website visitors in the last 28 days for City Visitor, which is a hell of a lot of website visitors. You can imagine if you were kind of driving those kind of figures to your site, what you could do with those users. It will clearly say whether it's down or up from previous sessions. And again, this has loads of information. You can even see what time of day is the best for website traffic. So for us, we can see that Tuesday at 10 a.m. seems to be a very, very strong contender. And you can kind of work your kind of marketing around that in terms of social media ads, in terms of Google ads, all that type of stuff. It's right here, ready and available. One of the main things to kind of look at as well is where these people are coming from. So we can see in the source/medium, we can see whether they're coming from organic, from paid search, direct, and so forth. Again, I would really recommend getting, spend a couple of days if you can. Really do get to have a play around, have a look at your stats that you have. So what pages do your users visit? Again, at the moment, people are looking, again, this is a online directory for businesses. So at the moment, people are looking for funeral directors in Glasgow, it seems. There's been a hell of a lot of page views compared to from all the other pages. That's just in the last 7 days. If we look at the last 28 days, again, funeral directors are up there. And then it's the homepage for the last 90 days. So I can see in the last 28 days, people are looking for funeral directors. Might be something to do with kind of what's going on around, obviously, why we're all in lockdown. But again, that gives you fantastic insight onto what page people are interacting with the most. we can see that funeral directors in this case is getting a lot more traffic. So one idea that I've instantly kind of thought of, we can potentially have another pop-up on that page. We can have a look at the content to see what's driving people to that page. Just on that note, let's click on page reports. That's all I did was click on page reports there. And that was from the home page, and it's taken me to this page report. And I can see exactly how many people are looking at it, how many unique visitors I've had. So I can see that the majority of these are just one time looking at the site. And I can see that actually people are entering the website from this page. So that's the first part. This is very top level, and you can get much deeper into what's going on. Let me show you a really cool bit of information, which would be so don't worry too much about all these tabs because there are loads and loads of information, but I want to have a look at my audience. I want to see where people are coming from the most. I need to know whether I should put my efforts into my desktop site or whether I should put efforts into my mobile site. Now, this will depend on each industry. I know this is an online directory. I know a lot of business owners. This is a business-to-business kind of website. I know a lot of business owners and people will be looking on desktop just because I've obviously looked at these analytics all the time. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click on mobile and I'm going to click on overview. And I'm going to have a look at where the majority of the traffic's coming from. Right, as we can see here, desktop. The majority of our users for this website is desktop. This will change per industry massively. I was speaking to Mark from Supplements Wise earlier on today, and we had a quick look at the keyword planner, and we found that the keywords he wants to get found for, 72% are actually searching on a mobile. We haven't looked at his analytics yet. We've got another call scheduled, but I can pretty much bet that we're going to see the majority for his traffic on mobile. Again, this will change. The majority will be mobile, but it's really good information to find out where to put your most effort in. So I can see that desktop is where the majority of people, 55% of my website traffic, are visiting on a desktop. Now, I don't want to run too much into this because I want to show you guys how to set it up. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. So the first step of setting up your analytics is to go to google.com. If my computer will behave. So I'm going to go to google.com/analytics. google.com/analytics. We'll put that in the chat as well. Matt, if you could just put that URL in the chat, that would be brilliant. That's google.com/analytics. Now, this will lead you to this page. Again, it's really easy to set up a Google Analytics account. First thing you need to do is click Start for free. Click that button and it will log you into, as long as you've got a Google account, it will log you straight into the analytics dashboard, and this is what you will be presented with. Again, I'm presuming the majority of you all have Google accounts. We've done GMB, we've done a lot of kind of Google things. The majority of you, especially if you've got a Google My Business listing, you will have a Google account, which will probably already be signed in. So you get taken to this step here. Now, these are your account details. So an account can actually have multiple websites in. So your account name is your top level account. So for this, I'm just going to call it test account because I'll be kind of deleting this later. I'm just creating it just to show you guys exactly how to do it. Again, this is your top level account. So for instance, you can have multiple websites, especially if you have multiple locations and multiple different websites. This is your top level account. So you can name it as your name. I've got a personal one. I just called it Josh Gill. But in this case, I'm going to call it test account. Again, this is your top level account, which you can have multiple websites in. You've got multiple options for technical support, account specialist, benchmarking, and so forth. I'd recommend leaving them all ticked. Google really do know what they're doing. It's always good to kind of hear their advice on analytics as well. So I'm just going to click next. All I've done so far is type in the account name. So I'm going to click next. Now, this is where you have your options of what you want to measure. If you have an app, there is an option for an app there. The majority of you, if not all of you, will be wanting to measure your website. So I'm going to keep it the same and just measure the website. But as you can see, you do have an option to also track analytics in your app as well. So I'm just going to click next. And again, this now takes me to the property details. So this is the first website I'm going to put into the account. So for this case, I'm just going to put InfoServe, for instance. And then I'm going to pop in infoserve.com. Make sure you've got your URL in there. Always check and enable HTTPS, because that will be tracking the secure version of your site. You should all have a secure website. If you don't, make sure that you get an SSL certificate so you can pay for them. There are some free online. You can get your web developer to install one. It is really, really important to make sure you have a secure website. I'm not too sure if you've noticed before, Google made a change. So whenever you actually click on an insecure site, Google will flash up a warning message to you saying, do you want to proceed? You don't want to be that business where people are clicking on your site and then Google are warning people about going onto your site. Just make sure it's secure. Always enable HTTPS on there. It will just track the secure site, which everyone will be redirected to if you have a secure certificate. Now, industry category. This one is optional. It's purely optional. But what this enables is Google will show you benchmarks of other websites in your industry. Very, very valuable information. Always select the closest category to what you offer. Make sure again, this is optional. I would highly recommend it. Google, the only difference is Google will show you benchmarks of other people in your industry. So in this case, I've got, let's just have a look. So for InfoServe, I've got internet and telecom, computers and electronics. Is there any marketing in there? Nope. So again, they are fairly broad, but for InfoServe, probably internet and telecom. Yeah. Okay. So I'm just going to pop that in there. And again, choose your reporting time zone, which is obviously the UK. I'm then going to click create. Now, what this will do is it will instantly bring up, do I agree to the terms and conditions? Of course we do. Make sure you read them and then click accept if you do accept Google's terms and conditions. Brilliant. So as you can see, once I have accepted those terms and conditions, it's instantly brought me to my tracking code. So don't worry about this too much, because obviously this does look quite complex. If you don't know how to install tracking codes, there are plugins out there. I would try avoid as many plugins as possible on your website. There are some good ones. Google Insights, Google Analytics by Monster Insights. They are actually owned by Yoast SEO. Yoast sold it to Monster Insights, so it is a very reputable brand. You can install that. That's for like WordPress, for instance. But Google actually have a support site for individual content management systems, i.e. website builders or website editors. Have a look at the support. I will pop that in the chat. It's support. Google.com/analytics. support.google.com/analytics, and in there they have very handy tutorials on each individual kind of CMS, whether that be WordPress, whether that be Wix, Squarespace, whatever. They do have individual help and support to actually install this into your website. So you need to make sure that this code is in the header tag of all of the pages on your site, so that this code will then trigger and then tell Google Analytics that someone is on there. Again, if this is way too kind of complex, do not worry. Speak to a web developer. They'll more than happy be able to kind of add this in for you. So Denisa, if I can't find the industry category, looking for advertising or media. Yes, again, the industry category, again, it's optional. It will just show you benchmarks around your industry for how your site should be performing. Just try find the closest fit. They don't have hundreds of categories like Google My Business does. So just try and find the closest category. Again, these are just kind of tips that Google will be popping up in like the little notification thing, which is over here. And they'll give you kind of notifications on how your site is performing to others. So yeah, to get back to analytics, you can install this tracking code. Now, a lot of plugins, as I mentioned, the Monster Insights one, all you need to do is put in your Google Analytics tracking code, and it will do that all automatically for you. Again, just install this on your site, and then you are good to go. Once you've installed that, that is done. You have now created a Google Analytics account, and you've also installed that tracking into your website. We did have some questions on Google Tag Manager. Now, all Google Tag Manager is basically a centralized hub for all of your tracking code. As you know, Facebook have a Facebook Pixel. Microsoft have got their own tracking. Google Ads, they have their own tracking. So installing 3 or 4 different tracking codes into your site, it soon ends up being quite a lot of code. To simplify that down, you can use Google Tag Manager. Google Tag Manager, in essence, is just one tag for all of your individual tags. So you can log on to Tag Manager, put in all your tracking code, and then Google will give you one tracking code to then put on every site. It's just so you're not bloating up your code with loads of different tracking codes, and then you've got one place to edit all of your tracking codes rather than logging in and changing all of the individual pages or putting it in your header tag every single time you want to make a change with your tracking code. Very, very handy stuff. I'd recommend kind of having a look at Google Tag Manager. Again, really easy to use, similar kind of setup, and you can just put all your tags in there. So once we've done that, that is all good for you to go. So I'm just going to jump back into the City Visitor Analytics. So we have been through how to set up your analytics. Make sure you have an account and installed your tracking code. The next important thing that you need to do is make sure that your goals are set up. So what are goals? Goals are your form fills. Goals are people buying from you. Goals are people picking up the phone and inquiring with yourself. You need to be able to track these goals, otherwise, so then to make sure that you know exactly what path people can take. You can really get down into the nitty gritty. Again, I'm trying to keep it kind of top level here. I don't want to kind of lose anyone with too much techie jargon. So I'm trying my best to trying to keep it nice and simple for you guys. So goals. In conversions, on the left-hand side, we have an option for goals. So I'm just going to show you kind of the overview of kind of goals in there. So in here, it will instantly ask you to set up goals. So for goals to work, the best way to kind of do this is make sure every single contact form has a thank you page. So if you've got a home page and you've got a contact form on there, make sure that home page has a thank you page just for the home page. And again, if you've got a contact form on your contacts page, make sure that thank you page is then also unique as well. You don't. That's the kind of the best way to do it. It can be a little longer to do. Just make sure kind of each thank you page is unique. I found from my experience with working with analytics, it just tends to work better. You can just have one thank you page for all of your forms and it still works. But to make sure that you're tracking everything, try and keep them individual. Again, it can be a duplicate of the page. The URL can just be slightly different. So you can have thank you 1, thank you 2, or thank you home, thank you contact, whatever it may be. And that's how you set up goals. So you click set up goal, and then it will bring you through to your goal page. And again, really nice and easy. Click new goal. and then you can then name it. So I'm just going to put homepage contact form, for instance. So in here, I can then pick my destination, which is going to be a thank you page. As you can see, goals can be set up in multiple different ways. You can have duration. So if you want one of your goals to be where people stay on a certain page for 2 minutes or more to make sure that they read the content, you can set that as a goal. You can have it so you can track people who look at more than 3 pages, for example. If you're wanting people to have a look at the homepage, the contact page, and then one of your service pages, you can set that up as a goal. You can have an event as well. So you can have, I want to track how many people have viewed this video and how many people have kind of played a video. Again, you can set that up as well, or you can use smart goals. Now, smart goals will automatically kind of measure the most engaged visits to your website and kind of automatically turn those into goals. I'd recommend kind of defining your own goals there. So in this case, I'm going to choose a destination, like a thank you page. So I'm just going to click continue. Is there any kind of questions before I move forward, actually? Is there any kind of questions around goal types and kind of what you can check? If you've got any questions, please ask away. I've got the chat in front of me. So I'm going to move on while I wait for some questions. So with the goal detail, we want, obviously, we want to put our URL for our thank you page. So for I know I'm in the city visitor, but I'll just do kind of infoserve.com / thank you, for instance, is one of our kind of thank you page. You can assign a monetary value to that conversion as well. So we've got Nicholas is saying, not sure I understand the thank you pages. So the thank you pages are purely there to basically kind of track goals. So let me just show you an example. I'm just going to go to infoserve.com / COVID, which I'm sure you've all been on this landing page several times. And I'm just going to scroll down to the bottom to a request a one-to-one. So in here, I can put in, so this is just a normal customer putting in their details. And then, so I filled out my form and now I'm ready to inquire. I'm going to then click send. I will now be redirected to a thank you page. Now, the thank you page will then trigger the analytics. So there we go. Thank you for contacting us. This page is purely for kind of Google Analytics and to obviously say thank you for the inquiry. So once I have now landed on this page, the only way I can get to this page as a user is if I filled out a form. So then you can confidently know, I've just had a notification come through there saying that I've inquired. So the thank you page is purely kind of there so that you can track them and you can track these goals in analytics. As I was saying, the only way I, as a user or anyone else, can get to this thank you page on the InfoServe site is if they fill in a form. So I confidently know that I am going to, I confidently know that that is a tracked thing. Yes, Jen, it says 72 hours. Again, it's just there just in case. Again, we've got a lot of inquiries that we kind of that we go through. But yeah, again, this is a good opportunity to kind of put in some kind of review links. You can put in some more accreditations. You can put in your social media links, and you can put in links to kind of other. As you can see, we've got our main navigation bar so people can easily kind of go and have a look at kind of the services of what we offer. Again, just to kind of reiterate, the thank you page is purely so you can track your goals. And the only way I can get to this thank you page is if I fill out a form. So let me jump back into analytics. So this is where you put your goal destination. Infoserve.com/thank you. I think in this case, it's thank you for your inquiry. So I'm just going to copy that and I'm just going to pop that in there. Really nice and easy. So you can put a value on there as well. Again, this says optional. I would recommend kind of doing that. Let's say, I don't know, you're a boiler installation business, and you know, on average, it's about what, £1,500 for a new boiler installation. So anyone filling out that form potentially is worth £1,500, and you can put that in here. So you can assign a monetary value to that page. So I'm just going to put £1,500 on there. The reason I've done that is analytics will then show you, let's say you have, I don't know, 10 form fills, and that's obviously £15,000 potential worth of business that you have there. Again, everyone's monetary value for a page is going to be different. If you're like a locksmith, for instance, then it's like 20 to £40. You can put anything there. It is optional. Again, I'd recommend doing it, and then you can see potentially how much all those form fills and all those inquiries are worth. Sorry about that. You also have an option for funnel as well. So this is where you can specify a path you expect traffic to take towards this destination. So I expect people to get to this thank you page from the home page. Now, this is how you can link it all up. So in here, I can put in, for instance, the home page. And I know that homepage is obviously infoserve.com. And I'd say that was required. The only way people can get to here is from that homepage. And again, it's just adding that extra bit of foolproofness, if that's a word, of making sure that you're actually tracking real legitimate conversions. So I'm just going to save this goal. Hopefully it'll let me save, even though I've done it on a different website. Yes, it has. Perfect. So that's now saved that goal. And again, I would recommend doing this on every single contact form that you have, every single event that you are wanting to track. So just kind of to go through the events again on here, you've got destination, duration, pages/screens per session, and the actual event, like a video played, or a click to call, for instance. If someone clicks that call button on your mobile version of the site, you want to be tracking those as well. Make sure you have all of those goals set up. Once you've got all those goals set up, you are ready to go to track your analytics. So let's jump into the analytics home dashboard. Again, I showed you this very quickly kind of earlier on. There's some really, really juicy stuff in here to better understand your business. So as we can see, how well do we retain users? That's quite important for a site like City Visitor. We want people to use our directory. We want people to come back on here and use it over and over again. As we can see, March 22nd to March 28th, we had a lot of recurring visitors, which is good. So we had 4,000 people in the first week, and then 39 of those came back, which is a 1% retention, and so on and so forth. And as you can see, people are using it for 3 weeks on the trot. At least 22 people have used that website 3 weeks on a trot, which is really good. And that's exactly what we want. The main thing that we want is obviously goal completions and goal tracking. So let's have a look to see what else you can play with in here. So what I've kind of gone through so far is make sure you have an account and you've installed your tracking code. Second thing, set up your goals and your thank you pages. The third thing is check where most of your traffic is coming from in terms of devices and sources. So what I mean by that, I'm just going to go to audience, and I'm going to go to mobile again, and I'm going to have a look at the overview of where people are coming. Repeat visitors from this great webinar series. Oh, thank you, Jen. Exactly. As we can see, when I had a look at the InfoServe analytics, I could see that we had a lot of recurring visitors, and our goal completion was that people were having a look at 2 or 3 pages at a time, which is brilliant. It's that's exactly the kind of thing that you guys need to be looking for. If you find that people are only looking at one page and you have a very high bounce rate. Now, what bounce rate means is the percentage of people who land on the page and just click straight off again. You want to avoid that. You want to have a low bounce rate. Bounce rate does actually affect SEO. There are multiple, there are probably thousands of different factors that contribute to search engine optimization. Bounce rate is one of them, alongside site speed, alongside a lot of other factors as well. So just to kind of show you what I'm talking about, on the homepage, it does actually show you your bounce rates. So as we can see, 74% bounce rates. Now, with this being an online directory, that could be a good or a bad thing. It could be a good thing because they found the information that they want and that they've left. Again, this is an online directory. This is completely different to a service-led, for instance, or a product-led, like for you guys. So Andrew's asked, if I get a new website, can I use the tracking code from the old websites? Andrew, I'd strongly recommend, if it's a different website completely, if it's a different URL and the website's got a different purpose, then yes, use use a new tracking code. I presume you mean in that case, would you use the same analytics if you've had like a website refresh? In that case, yes, most definitely. You need to track if that website refresh has done you any favors. You need to see if optimizing the title tags, or like, if, for instance, if you got someone to do your SEO, you need to see if that's working. This is a brilliant way of seeing that. If you found that your bounce rate suddenly goes through the roof to like 80% compared to, I think Google mentioned around 20 to 40% is quite is the kind of the industry norm. Again, you'll get your benchmarks if you fill in your industry category. If you find your bounce rate suddenly goes up through the roof, then you know that content isn't engaging anymore, and you need to make some changes to get that bounce rate back down again. Again, in our case, it could be a good or a bad thing. It could be a good thing because they found that information that they want and they need to quickly get off to either ring that business or inquire with that business. With an online directory, it is a different kettle of fish, really. So yeah, is it good to have a bounce rate at 75 or 35%? The lower the better. The lower the better. You only want 35% of your visitors leaving. Basically, that's what bounce rate is. It's the amount of visitors who are leaving. If you had 100% bounce rate, that means all of your website visitors are landing on there and going straight off, not looking at any of the pages, not looking at any content on the page. So Chris has asked, for a directory like ours, what is a good bounce rate? Again, Chris, similar to kind of city visitor, Google recommend around 20 to kind of 40. The kind of the aim for like a directory, for instance, would be either for them to get in contact. If you offer a premium listing, for instance, if you offer like a premium listing, you want that bounce rate to be quite low, and then they can go on there, and you can. I will show you at a later stage of how to track people's path, the conversion path. I'll show you that in a little bit. So yeah, as I was saying, around kind of 20 to kind of 40% is a good kind of bounce rate, and that's how many people are leaving. And again, you can track this as well. So you can track this over, let's do like the last 90 days, for instance. So it has increased slightly. That's not good. That's something that we kind of need to look on. But again, let's have a look at your devices and where people are coming from, because that's the nitty-gritty stuff. Are they coming from Facebook? Are they coming from Instagram? Are they coming from Google? Are they coming from Bing? Are they coming from an online directory? Are those backlinks working? We don't know yet. So let's have a look. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go and have a look at behavior. And then I'm going to go into site content. And in here, we can choose all pages. So what I've gone is to behavior, site content, and all pages. So in here, as we can see, the page with the most views at the moment is funeral directors, unfortunately. So in here, I can see how many people have viewed that page. If I clicked on, so Denisa, thank you page is the response you get from when you send an inquiry through the contact form. Yes, exactly. So I would, Denisa, recommend if you realize you don't have a thank you page, definitely get a thank you page on there. It just makes it easier for the Google Analytics to track it. You can still track it without a thank you page, but by far for you guys, the easiest thing to do is to track the analytics. So in here we have kind of got a single page. Let me just go back and show you where people are coming from. So I'm going to go to acquisition. No, I'm not going to go to audience, sorry. And then I'm going to go to mobile and overview. Here we go. So in here we can see where people are coming from. I can also see where people are coming from in terms of search engines as well. So let me just go to source and medium. There we go. So we've got our acquisition report. So acquisition is how many people are kind of filling out these goals, and it will show you what percent of people are filling out those goals. Obviously, I've just set up kind of one in this case, and you can choose all your goals in here. But for instance, the majority of the traffic coming onto the city visitor site is coming from Google, and that's coming from organic searches. So people are typing in keywords to kind of find us on Google through SEO. The second biggest is Google paid search. So we've had some paid search kind of campaigns. And again, we've got 2004, about the same amount as the Google organic, which is good to see. And again, we know how many people direct. So direct is people typing in city visitor and landing straight on the page. So they already know of it. Bing, 310, Yahoo. And as you can see, we've got all of our sources in here. Now, as you can see, Facebook, we've only got 8 coming from Facebook. So that's somewhere that I know instantly that I need to improve on. I need to improve on my Facebook to drive more people to the site. So I know that in terms of city visitor, that's where we're lacking at the moment. We've got some really, really useful information in here. You've got bounce rate per page, as you can see. So I can see what pages are engaging the most and where they're coming from. So it seems at a quick glance that AOL, the traffic coming from AOL actually is staying on the site. So it can be good to know what search term I've typed in to get there. Average session duration, again, really useful information. People typing in city visitor direct tend to stay on the page longer, which is expected. They already know of us. They already trust the brand. And so they're going to have a dig about and they're going to have a look. And again, the next other one, it's actually Facebook. So even though we've had less people come from Facebook, the traffic that is coming is staying on the site longer. So that's some really useful information there. So now I've established that. Now what I need to do now, I can focus on the Facebook area aspect of this, increase the amount of users, and in turn, I'm going to get longer page views because of that. Again, really kind of insightful, juicy stuff. That's just at the tip of your fingers, ready to find out. And again, you've got all your social as well. So I'm just going to click into social. And you can find out exactly. So here we go, 13 sessions, 8 users from Facebook kind of coming through. And I can see that they land on Stoke-on-Trent cafes, for instance. That seems to be the highest. And then I can click on there. And again, it'll give me kind of a bit of a further kind of rundown. You've got your mobile version and so forth. You've got your landing pages, which is basically what we've been through, and you can find out where people are going as well. So you've got your users flow. So this is really useful information. I don't want to go too much into this too much because we're running out of time. But again, this is just a kind of a quick overview. I can see the majority of people are coming from, in this case for social, coming from Facebook, and then they're landing on Stoke-on-Trent cafes. Have a lot of them then drop off, that 37%. That could be because they found out what they need. And then again, you can just track. So they came from Facebook, they landed on the homepage, they then went to accountants. And again, you can really kind of track where people are going on your website and what people are inquiring with the most. So yeah, that's kind of like the top level look. So again, just to kind of just to kind of reiterate what we've been through so far, make sure you have an account and install your tracking code, set up your goals and your thank you pages, check where most of your traffic is coming from in terms of devices and sources, and then you can start to formulate a plan around that. And then again, the last thing is examine your top conversion paths, which is this. So let me just go to a bit of an overview kind of look around this. I've gone to acquisition and gone to overview. You can see the majority come from organic search, paid search, direct, which we've been through before. This is just more of a kind of a graph to kind of show you. But let's have a look at conversion paths. So you can go to goals and then you can look at your funnel visualization. I've just set up the goal there, so there won't be much data in there to kind of to analyze. But let me show you kind of audience and the conversion path. Let me have a look. Oh, here we go, users flow. So again, there's some really useful information in here. I can see there's a 183% increase in people visiting from paid search, which if you're running a paid search campaign is brilliant to hear. And again, I've kind of dropped from like social. So that's something to kind of have a look at in terms of sessions. New sessions have gone up, which is good, but new users have gone down. So not as many new people are finding us, but the people that have found us are looking at it more than once. Let's go have a look at users flow. So this is the top conversion paths. And again, you can choose what you kind of want to start off with. So in this case, it's gone for location. So let's have a look at, for instance, the source and the medium is where they've come from. So as we can see, Google Organic, they go straight to the home page. And then the majority of people actually do a search, which is really interesting to see. So that tells me that the majority of the traffic are users looking for information around our directories and looking for business information, which makes sense. And again, you can track where the majority of those go. And as we can see, this then again comes down here, and a lot of them have a look at accountants. And then, oh no, sorry, that's account activate. Oh, brilliant. So then they're creating their account. So they've searched, they've looked for something, and then they're creating their account, either claiming a business listing. And again, you can really kind of get into nitty-gritty with this and find out exactly what pages people are using. I don't want to go too much into it. I believe we've got Matt back again. If Matt wants to join in. Hi, Matt. How you doing?
Hi, Josh. Thanks for that. Good stuff. Really good. Lots of good detail there. Lots of technical stuff and things that you made. It made it really easy to understand, good. I think. So thank you so much for putting it in such a simple manner and understandable process, because that's really helpful, and it's things that you can do today, isn't it? It's things that you can actually within 30-40 minutes you could be up and running and exactly. Analyzing site behavior.
You've seen how
really good.
You've all seen how easy it is to create a Google Analytics account. Again, these are the tips to actually set up your account written down. If you want to watch this on the replay and pause this and follow these steps, more than welcome to. Again, it's really easy to set up an analytics account, as I've shown you. There's really not much to it at all. The only thing you need is a Google account.
That's it. Yeah. So leaving that on the screen there for a few seconds, just so people can pause it. In terms of, Josh, you had a couple of final tips you wanted to say, but I think you've covered all this off, haven't you, in terms of...
exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that's just basically what we've been through today. Make sure you have an account and make sure you have installed that tracking code. If you are having trouble installing that tracking code, support.google.com/analytics. Have a look in there. It literally shows you Wix and WordPress and so forth like that.
Okay.
And that's make sure you follow those tips.
All right. Well, I've got a couple more things before we go, Josh. If that's okay. Time's ticking. So
I know.
It's been fantastic, and I think we've got a couple more tips. And I mentioned at the start how I've got really cool things that I want to show you today as well. And I just want to say, Josh's stuff there, You have to do that. Every business should always have Google Analytics and should be using all the things that Josh went through there. So I encourage everyone to go back and listen to that and take it step by step and really start to use Google Analytics. But imagine if you could have heat maps. Imagine if you could see where people are clicking on your website visually as a heat map. So imagine if it showed you where someone's clicking precisely down to the millimeter on your website page. And if more people were clicking in that area, it would show red. And if fewer people were clicking in another area, it would be blue. So imagine if you had that visual representation of where people are almost looking. Josh, you might want to mute.
Sorry, yeah.
That would be massive if you could see where people are almost looking on your website. Or imagine if you could see where people are scrolling, how people are scrolling, where you could find out where your call to action sweet spot is. So we know from all of the businesses that we work with where people are, how far people are scrolling on websites, and we know what people are doing on our website. But imagine if you had a scroll map where it showed the most popular scroll depth of a web page, and usually, if you could find out where the best spot is, that would be the prime spot for a call to action, right? So imagine if you could finally know that people are not going down to the bottom of your website or not going down to that content on a service page. They're actually not scrolling. They're kind of staying at the top third of your website. Well, that's where you would want to put the call to action. And you see the red bit on screen there, the red color. Well, that is exactly where you'd want to put your call to action button. So of all of the webinars that we've been doing over the last 3 weeks and all of the website optimization that we've shown you, there are ways that you, for free, can work out exactly where to put that button that will lead to more conversions and more inquiries. Yes, it is something that you can do today. And we're going to show you how you can do that. So as well as installing analytics and using that for really in-depth goal setting and reporting, you can indeed see where people are clicking on another tool that we're going to show you in a minute. Click heat maps, scroll heat maps, move heat maps. It's all there available for you. But imagine if you could even record how people are behaving on your website. So you could actually see the mouse mover on your website. You can see where people are moving their mouse, and it had a recording via lines like this. So the scribbles you see on page there is someone's mouse movements. So someone's gone to a website and had their mouse and moved around. And imagine if you could track their behavior and see literally what they're looking at and how long they're looking at that particular item on your website. This is really useful if you've got plans or a service page with pricing, or if you, like I say, want to get your call to action button in the best possible place. And imagine if you could see what they're doing on contact forms as well. Are they jumping to other fields on your contact forms? Are they giving up? Well, you can with 2 products. They're called Hotjar and Crazy Egg. And so not only should you be looking at Google Analytics, but you should today install Hotjar on your website. And if you want, have a look at Crazy Egg as well, because it's a very similar tool. But one of the 2 of those products will do the job. Those products will track movement, behavior on site, scrolling, clicking, and what people are looking at, and literally how far they're scrolling. And it will give you heat maps of all of this stuff. I guarantee that when you install this and then you leave it for a week, just a few days even, and if you go back into and have a look at what people have been doing over the last few days, you will love it. It will really, it'll be an eye-opener. It will be an absolute eye-opener. So Hotjar or Crazy Egg will do the job really well. And of course, if you need any help with this, or if you're feeling like, okay, these guys are the experts, they know their stuff, well, we think we do, and we do have a massive team behind us. Not literally, but we've got a huge team. We've got a PPC specialist team. We've got a website specialist team. We've got some of the best designers in the UK when it comes to design and optimization. We've got some of the best content writers in the UK that have the best connections with local newspapers all across the UK for backlink building, PR, article content writing. We've got content makers that get posts that go viral on social media. We've got the most powerful listing management platform, I would say, in the world, if I'm honest with you. And we've got not only that, but our Google Ads and Microsoft Ads technology is world class, world leading, officially. So if you want to unlock any of this or get more help or use us to do it for you, we can do it all for you. And in some cases, it's even free. But as many people have already found out, you'll be surprised at how little this investment would be if you wanted to use us. Anywhere from £100 a month to, I don't know, £500, £600, £700. It depends on what you want. Or it could be free. It doesn't, irrespective of the cost, irrespective of what you need from us, just give us a shout. Go to infoserve.com/COVID, and one of our lovely guys or girls will give you a call, and we'll just see what it is you're looking for, and we'll obviously let you know what's involved, and you can go away and have a think about that and consider it all. But we're there if you need us, and we can do all this for you, and we can analyze all this data for you. We can do all of this marketing analyzation and website optimization. We can do it all every single week, every single month.
It is a lot to take in. We do appreciate. We have been through a lot. We've been through website conversion optimization, from listings to PPC. It is a lot of information for anyone to take on board, especially daily, while you're at home. We do appreciate that. We are here to help. We are working our way through getting in contact to you guys. Again, it will be either me, Matt, or anyone from our team, Sam, Dan. We've got Matt and Darren as well, who are brilliant digital marketing consultants. Again, we really do want to help, and even if it's something as simple as what we might find simple as to doing basic listings, for instance, please do get in touch. We really do want to help, especially again with the kind of the analytics. The main thing to take away from this session is make sure you have that account. Make sure you install that tracking code. Again, there are plugins out there. There are kind of simple ways to do it. I mean, I kind of would like to show everyone, if that's right, Matt, just before we go, just kind of how easy it is to kind of install Google Analytics on kind of like on our web environment, for instance. So let me just kind of pull that up.
Yeah, it'll only take 30 seconds, won't it? So
exactly, yeah.
Worth a quick one.
Any kind of site you'd recommend, or just anything
Josh would do, and yeah, I think the takeaway from what you're saying is no matter how small or big it is, we can help. But what we're trying to say is that we're doing this on behalf of Google and Microsoft. So take advantage of this. We are supported by those big search engines, so we can do this. We can do a lot of stuff for you for free at the moment. So do take advantage of this at the moment, because we've got this COVID-19 support thing going on at the moment, and we are supported by Google and Microsoft very, very, very comfortably. So we can support you, and so take advantage of that. So
how kind of easy it is to just install, or how easy it can be. So let me just share my screen. And again, this is our web editor. There's nothing on here. I've just created something blank. You can, it's very kind of easy to use, but just to kind of show you, do you remember me kind of showing your analytics? It was your kind of your number that you got. Part of the setup process, you had your number. Let me just tracking info, tracking code. There it is. So there's the number that we created. So all I have to do is copy that number, go into my web editor, click settings, go to Google Analytics. There he is, nice and simple, paste it in, and now I've installed Google Analytics on an InfoServe website. very super ridiculously easy to use, if I may add. Again, that's how easy it can be. Different content management systems are different. WordPress, Wix, whatever. Again, there's loads of help and support tutorials out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so Monica, there is someone calling you, I think, today. Apologies for that. There's a few bits of admin that the team are getting through, but there's absolutely. I think it's going to be Darren that gives you a call. He's probably one of our best guys, most technical and knowledge-wise. So. If you need any help, just jump onto infoserve.com/COVID. We really hope this has helped you today. Of course, all of this stuff, you can do it yourself, and you can do it for free. Absolutely. And that's the reason why we wanted to do this for you, is give you as much of our best advice as we can give you. We really feel like we've given some great advice today in terms of tools that you can add to your website that will really help with your marketing and understanding where you put your money and what you do next. There's no point of doing much marketing unless you have these things installed, because it's all about tracking performance and conversions, and you can do all this. So hopefully this has been useful for you guys.
Please get in touch. The links at the top of the chat, infoserve.com/COVID. Request a one-to-one. Again, we are working our way through. Someone will be in touch very, very soon. Again, if you do need any help, Tiana, I can see that you've asked you'd like some help. Again, just fill in the form at the bottom of that page, and we'll get in contact. But yeah, brilliant. Thank you very much for today.
Thanks, Josh. Awesome session, awesome job, well done, really good. We'd love to hear more from you, because you've got loads of technical knowledge, and you've got loads of what you're really good at is tools like this and analytics and the pixel and things like. So we'd love to have another session from Josh. Thank you so much, Josh. Well done. I'll let you close this all off, but thank you, everybody. Appreciate that. Thank you for your time today, and thanks for your lovely comments. It means so much to us. And the team around us at this time. So thank you so much. Josh,
Definitely.
Do you want to say bye-bye?
Yeah, cheers, guys. Thank you very much. Tomorrow, planning on going through kind of Search Console. So one thing I haven't really touched upon is trying to find out what keywords people are currently finding you for. Again, I've gone kind of top level with Google Analytics. I've tried not to get too in-depth. It can get quite boring in terms of analytics, but it is really useful to know. It's really useful to implement. And just the best advice I can give right now, set up your account, install the tracking code, and just have a play around. See, it does take a little while for the data to gather if it hasn't been installed. But again, get used to the interface. It's going to be your best friend, especially for the next couple of months. Really do try to understand your audience. But yeah, just to leave it on, tomorrow we're going to talk about how to find out what keywords you're currently getting found for, and linking up Google Search Console. So yeah, thank you very much, guys. It's been brilliant today, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Yeah, see you. Bye.
Cheers, guys.